My name's Gabe Blanchet, and I want to start with something that's a little bit atypical. So can everybody get ready to stand up? Can everybody? Put your stuff down. Well, I didn't necessarily say stand up yet. This kind of screws it up, but I've got two questions for this crowd in New York. So you're supposed to stand, everybody sit down. and then stand up if these are true. I want to know how many people live in the city, either Manhattan or Brooklyn or one of the boroughs. Okay, wow. Okay, so everybody's urban. And now sit down again. And now I want you to stand up if you grow any of your own food right now. It can be one plant or it can be it can be 80% of your diet. Okay. So we've got some gardeners. Cool. All right. You guys can stand up or sit down for the rest of the show here. My name's Gabe Blanchet. I co-founded a company called Grove. And what I want to do today is walk you through a little bit of the Grove story, show you what we build, but hopefully just inspire you to inspire and educate you guys to grow more of your own food. That's what we're about. This previous talk was just about the importance of vegetables and what they can represent for so many people. I mean, that's something I share fully. So I want to start by talking a little bit about the current state of the food system as I see it, not just in the high-end restaurants, which are incredible, but really the state of food and agriculture on the planet. Agriculture today uses an incredible amount of resources. It's actually completely unsustainable on the planet here. We use 70% of our fresh water on the globe for agriculture, and as a lot of you guys are aware, we are, by and large on the planet, we are dumping petroleum-derived nitrate fertilizers into the ground, and we're spraying glyphosate pesticide all over these crops. So what you end up with is total eutrophication of water sources, and you end up with soil that is not really a living, healthy, ecological soil, but is instead totally dead. It's inorganic. You take that food, whatever it is, mostly corn, wheat, and soy, but some veggies and other crops, and then you package it and you process it. And this stat's amazing. We throw away 570 million pounds of food or of packaging every day in this country. And then we ship food. I think this is often used. 1,500 miles is the average distance in America that food travels to get from a farm processing to a plate. And so that's not only bad because of the petroleum and the oil products to refrigerate and to move all this food, but it's really bad because food is by and large designed now to be shipped. It's not designed for nutrition, and it's not designed for taste, by and large, or complex taste. Very simple taste it is designed for. But it's designed for these supply chains. So you end up with food, for example, that a peach today, on average, that you pick up from a grocery store, contains 2% of the vitamin C that it would have contained in the early 50s. 2%. This is because the peach, as with so many of our foods, is now engineered for journeys and for shelf life instead of for nutrition and taste. Then at the end, you've got this. You've got us throwing away 40% of this whole chain that we're talking about here. Moving beyond this, are we healthy? Are we healthy with the food that's coming in? 69% of cancer can be directly related to diet, and 100 million Americans are obese. So, with this supply chain that's destroying the planet, we're also not healthier for it. So that's the current state of what's actually going on out here. Grove is just a little part of the solution. It's just one of the so many innovations and technologies that we need. But at Grove, we believe that by inspiring and educating people to grow their own food in ways where you live in a city, or it's not practical for you to have an entire organic farm, we can inspire and educate the next generation. This is the Grove ecosystem. You use it to grow your own fresh, healthy food right inside your home, whether you live in Brooklyn, New York. We're getting orders now from all around the country for different reasons. It's primarily intended to inspire and educate people, to actually get their hands dirty, to plant seeds, to have fun as a family. So how does it actually work? It uses an incredible process called aquaponics. So aquaponics, for those of you who aren't aware, basically use the fish tank at the bottom to produce nitrate fertilizer for the plants up top. So we circulate water around, and you conserve about roughly 80–90% of water compared to traditional agriculture, and you've got a full self-sustaining system in there. All you have to do is measure the levels every once in a while, add water, feed the fish, and then the rest of it is, if you see it as maintenance, then you're missing the whole point. It's gardening. It's growing food. What we've done over the past year, we did the early adopter program, so this has been about 2 years now. We put 50 of these prototypes or products into the hands of people in Boston, and the results have been fantastic. We've learned a ton, and we launched nationally this fall. I'll talk about that in a minute, but this was an incredible process. There's been hundreds of harvests, but it's not just the leafy greens that you see. We've helped people grow over 75 unique crops. We're talking all sorts of fruiting crops. My mom grows a lot of flowers. I think she's the only one. So it's across the board. It's not just leafy greens, though those do grow great. One of the most important things for us as a company, and just for me, is when I get pictures of kids who are using the Grove ecosystem. One of our early adopters, their daughter actually dressed as a goldfish for Halloween this past year, inspired by the Grove ecosystem. It's actually their sister. But this inspiring and educating the next generation. We're not going to grow 100% of your food in an area the size of a bookshelf, but we can inspire and educate. Here's Nikki and Dan. They use it for almost the opposite reason of a lot of these families who really want to be hands-on. These are folks in their late 20s, and they are busy. They like coming home from work and having life, a slice of nature in their home. And then Craig at Involution Studios just knows that having a slice of nature, having greenery in his office at Involution Studios increases efficiency and makes his employees happy. So we've got schools, we've got homes, and we've got offices with Grove ecosystems. We're inspired by nature, so throughout the company and throughout our product, we're always looking to nature for how to actually engineer and build the systems. So how do we start to? Yeah, so in the system we've got efficient LED lights. You can see them adjust. We've got everything's integrated, so you've got storage, and then it is web connected. So there's a mobile app called Grove OS, and Grove OS is primarily intended to really inspire people with a curriculum sort of through the entire process. So there's a lot we can do with Grove OS so that in 2 years after having a Grove ecosystem, people know so much about 75 right now different crops. That number will keep going up. About the life cycle, about how the fish interact with the plants and the different bacteria in the system. This isn't a hands-off lettuce machine. This is meant to be an engaging experience for everybody who has it. Doing some cool technology. I mean, this is machine vision, so that if you don't think you have a green thumb and something's going wrong and you've got yellowing or chlorosis or you've got leaf cupping on some of your plant leaves, you can take a picture. We'll send it to our server, diagnose it, and hopefully give you something accurate. We'll launch this sort of separate from our ecosystem customers so that you don't have to have the hardware to use this type of service. Hopefully this will be coming in the fall. LED grow lights, another area that we're innovating in a ton for anybody who's in indoor agriculture. We know that this is what enables this, the growth of the indoor farming industry over the next several years. These things keep on getting more efficient. Here you see the red and blue spectrum that's used in indoor farms by and large. And what we've done is engineered full spectrum LED lights that are built for plants, but they're also built for people. So people can use, people who have Grove ecosystems in their bedroom use the light, the sunrise, as their alarm clock. I mean, that's it slowly ramps up. So we want to start expanding beyond Boston. So maybe some of you guys actually saw that we did a Kickstarter campaign this last November. It was fantastic. We had our social channels doubled, tripled in a matter of a week. We went totally viral with over 10 million video views on on the Weather Channel, on BuzzFeed, on a few different channels. We were fully funded in 24 hours. We ended up selling about 130 Grove ecosystems, which is incredible because this is a new thing. I mean, this is a new product, a new concept that people hadn't even touched yet, tangibly, and 130 people committed to it. We ended up raising about a little under $500,000. So that was really validating for us as a business. We also, as part of that, we traveled across the country and held product demos in most major cities, which was just fantastic to see people coming out. And it wasn't so much, these weren't sales events. These were conversations about food and about actually getting your hands dirty. There's the Grove team. This is the team that I have the pleasure of leading, and we're based up in Boston, so it's good to be down here in the Big Apple. We've got fantastic sets of investors behind us, so this validates that this concept, not just of Grove, but of growing your own food, and that's something that people will want to do. It's got some wheels, according to certain venture capitalists and angel investors, and people who can actually help us make it real. We're also partnered with some housing developers who are, the long run of Grove is that it's as ubiquitous as a bookshelf, not just our hardware, but other products like it from other companies. These should be pre-installed right into homes as they're being built. Big systems, small systems, every which way. This started in our fraternity room at MIT about 3 years ago. And I was super skeptical at first. I was not a gardener. I did not grow my own food. But my roommate did. And he built this aquaponics system against my will. But I was so against it. I was trying to study. And that room was not for a jungle, as he called it. I was like, I don't want that. But after a few months of living with this, I started to realize just the profound impact. It wasn't just the food. It was fresh air. It was a sense of nature in the middle of a Boston winter. And what it really was a refocusing in the fraternity from the library, where there was a TV and we used to play Super Smash Brothers, over into our room, which became really a centerpiece of the whole house. People would, brothers would come in and sit by the couch by the system, and I wish we took more pictures. In hindsight, we would have. But they would pick lettuce. They would feed the fish. They'd ask questions about it. So it became the centerpiece, much more than the actual food that it grew. So that's the Grove ecosystem. What I want to task you guys with is for everybody who didn't stand up when I asked if you grow your own food or if you garden, even just one seed in one pot in your windowsill. I ask you guys to start growing your own food. Because when you start growing your own food, you connect so tangibly to something that's been lost in a lot of modern society. You start to understand that it's not just about the food that you can produce or the cost of it, but it's about actually getting your hands planting seeds in the soil. I can just tell you guys from personal experience, over the past few years, I've really reshaped the way I think about ordering food at restaurants. Really reshaped the way I go into a supermarket and think about all these packaged goods around me. And that's because I started planting my own seeds. You don't need the Grove ecosystem to do that. It's a beautiful tool, but there are so many other ways. A lot of those other ways we want to support. So if you have any tools, or if you have any suggestions, if you have any DIY plans for building your own systems, I'd love to be in touch about it because we can help broadcast that out to get more people growing their own food. So I want to thank you guys so much for your time this morning and especially your attention. Thank you guys.